Arsenal smashed Liverpool 4-0 in the WSL at the weekend, but this win came 4 days after their 2-0 loss to Real Madrid in the Champions League. Rach, you were obviously at the Di Stefano Stadium watching the game. What was it like?
Wet, Chloe. It's very, very wet. My God, if you're an Arsenal fan, if you're an Arsenal fan, it must be a real roller coaster of emotions for you the last few weeks. I don't like that stadium. I've been to that stadium too many bloody times. It's not fit for
purpose.
Well, for these big games, and from the get-go, the pitch was unplayable. They had leaf blowers out blowing the standing water off the pitch half an hour before kickoff. There was a clip that went around I saw from a fan in the stands, and it was Katie McCabe warming up, and someone dropped the ball at her feet, and the ball just dropped.
Oh no!
No bounce, nothing, and you could see McCabe shaking her head like that's what the pitch was like before kickoff. Players were coming out, little mascots. One of the little mascots couldn't get over the water on the sideline. Someone had to come and lift him over it after they'd done the anthem and everything, the UEFA anthem song. That's how wet the side of the pitch was. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that it actually went ahead is crazy. However, it's not the only reason Arsenal lost.
Obviously, like you've mentioned there, how disgraceful the pitch was. I mean, we've only just come off the back of the Pride Park for the League Cup final, that being bad, and so many people are kind of calling out how bad these pitches are. So Ian Wright called this one a disgrace on social media. The Di Stefano Stadium is home to Real Madrid reserve team, and it kind of feels like there's been even more sort of disgust and how appalled people feel about it, given sort of the nasty injury to Real Madrid's Melanie Leopold, who caught her studs in the mud while playing a pass. I'd also say the error at the back with Leah Williamson sort of not being able to control the ball. When you looked over that a couple of times, like the bounce of the ball really took her off guard, and it was because there was a fucking massive puddle in front of her.
Well, it depends who you ask, because according to some fans, it's just because she's absolutely terrible.
Oh, right, okay. Yep. That's
absolutely.
That's definitely what it was.
Let's not talk about the obvious context, because that would be silly.
Absolutely shocking. I mean, yeah, so I don't attribute that goal. I mean, it's a great goal from Caicedo, but again, we've seen kind of so many incidences of they're not. I think she's had a lot of crap thrown at her for like mistakes at the back, and I don't think that one can be attributed to her. We've got a question in from listener Shalvi, who has asked us on Instagram, what should UEFA do to ensure better pitch conditions?
Well, what I don't understand is UEFA have rules when you get to the group stages of what is required from a pitch in terms of quality of the pitch, how bright the lights are, media facilities, all of that kind of stuff. I don't really understand how that pitch meets that requirement.
How that was allowed to go ahead, I do not know.
But not just, I mean, do you know what? The lights are bright enough, I'll give them that. But like, even media facilities, it's not a good enough stadium for that. It doesn't provide enough for that. Now, I imagine there was pressure to get this game played, because when else would you play it? But the fact that the Bernabeu was sitting empty, it was international break, there was no other teams playing on that pitch. It is a very well looked after. It's got all sorts of fancy stuff going on with the pitch being able to go underground and all sorts of business.
How many people were at the Di Stefano Stadium? What was the like? Because the capacity looked low.
Yeah,
like really
but it was also like hammering it down at rain. So about 3,000. But in my opinion, it's irrelevant, because the player safety should be number one, and
100%,
and the facilities should be number one. Do a bit of bloody marketing. You've got enough money in your club to be able to do that. And
I've heard Real Madrid aren't short of money.
They're not.
Yeah.
And I think if you put in the Bernabeu and the prices are maybe lower than what they probably charge for their men's, you would get people there, and you would actually potentially attract a new audience as well. But some people were arguing as that was the reason it shouldn't be there. That's irrelevant when it comes to player safety. It just so there are things put in place by UEFA to ensure quality, and I just can't really understand how that passed that.
I think it's just the danger, like you said, of putting players in that position. I mean, I hadn't seen the warm up, because I don't know, just watched the game. I wasn't there. But like when you look at kind of the checks and balances that the referees will do before the match, they'll do things like drop the balls in the corners and like check but you could see like there was patches of just grass miss, and the worst thing about it is that it affects the quality of the game as well. I mean, when you look at some of the passes that were being played, the ball was slowing up. Like it looked like at points poor quality football, because it was so disjointed and slow and like claggy, and you were thinking, God, it actually looks like a grassroots team at point. And that's no discredit to the players. That was just they couldn't play the football and the style of football and exercise the skill that they needed to. The whole thing was an absolute fucking shambles, and the fact that it's come like a week after we've had the same thing happen is absolutely baffling. I'm just you have these moments of being like, for fuck's sake, I thought we'd moved on from this. I thought we'd moved on for having conversations like this.
Especially in the Champions League.
Definitely, 100%.
You know, when you see the Emirates, I mean, the Joy Stadium, I appreciate, isn't their main stadia, but it is a very, very well kept pitch and a well facilitated stadium in terms of what it offers beyond just the facilities on the pitch, but for media, for fans, etc. So it absolutely meets all of those requirements. It was like a carpet in comparison. But then you're seeing them play it at Stamford Bridge, at the Emirates, you know, at proper stadia, and I just don't understand why. You know, Real Madrid have been told that they can play there once they've won something. That's such a chicken and egg. Like, how do you win things if you're not being given the best facilities?
Well, you've got no players left because they're all injured. I can't.
Anyway, the match.
Yes, the match. There was a match on that pitch as well. Arsenal obviously facing a bit of an uphill battle tomorrow night at the Emirates. Bar the pitch, what do we think their main issue was against Real in that first leg? Because to me, I actually don't think it was a bad performance. I think Arsenal had chances, but again, it felt like the old school Arsenal. You got into positions, you struck the ball, you were either inches out, just clipped the post there. But the chances were there. They were getting in and around the area. It felt like the conversion wasn't there.
Yeah, it felt a bit.
When you look at Russo's chances, you look at Mead's chances.
Beth Mead, yeah. It felt a bit like the Liverpool game where, you know, they were doing the same kind of thing and it wasn't really working. I think Real Madrid adapted to the conditions much better than Arsenal did, and I do think that's a bit of a mentality thing with Arsenal where if they go down or something happens or whatever, it just puts them off a little bit and suddenly they get really stressed and they play stressed, whereas Real Madrid always looked quite comfortable. And while Arsenal were creating things, the defenders never looked that taxed, if you know what I mean. I think Renée Slegers tried to address the issues quickly from halftime. She made changes, and I do think those changes, Ford and Kelly, made a difference. I do wonder, the early goal, I reckon Arsenal probably thought they could get back into it, but they were trying so hard by the kind of 70th minute or so to get back into it that they left themselves exposed to the counter. And I think Real Madrid did really well in that respect. I do think they could have done better goalkeeper wise and defence wise for the second goal as well. So, you know, they almost gave themselves a bigger mountain to climb by trying so hard to come away with the draw. Do you know what I mean? That they almost left themselves exposed. But yeah, I didn't think they played that well, to be totally honest. I think, you know, and what they needed, much like Chelsea going into this next Champions League leg, what they needed was a really good performance at the Emirates where they scored loads of goals. And they did that against Liverpool. And I do think that will hugely give them a boost of confidence. You know, I think they really need to get an early goal. I think if they score a goal in the opening 15 minutes or so, this could be a really exciting match. I think they did something similar. Wasn't it against Wolfsburg? They were 2-0 down. I think two seasons ago, I think it was. I think Wolfsburg also
was that the iconic one.
Yeah, ultimately ended up winning.
Header.
Yeah, they ended up winning in extra time, but like they have done it before. They have the quality to do it. They've played the type of match in between that they really needed. Like if you could script a match that they in between those two legs, that would have been it. But equally, Arsenal struggle against a team that bank up. If Real Madrid bank up, it could make for a very difficult evening for them. Well,
I think talking of the confidence boost, what you've also seen though is that Real Madrid have a confidence boost at the weekend. They beat Barcelona for the first time ever. Caroline Weir, who else came off the bench to score 2. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, it couldn't have come at a worse timing, really. I think you kind of wanted to go into a situation where, yes, you're 2-0 down. I don't think it was particularly that bad a game. So it's 13 shots, only 1 on target for Arsenal though, which is absolutely. But I think that's what I was saying about, you know, a shot off target though will count if it doesn't clip the post. So like it's almost like, well, there were so many instances where it was very, very close. You were like a foot out, which to me almost feels like it was a shot on target in a way, I suppose. But what you wanted to do was go into this game a little bit like, you know, buoyed off the confidence of the 4-0. You're back at the Emirates, home crowd, like they normally do, like the crowd are going to get behind you. You've got so much to like dig into here, but Real Madrid go and do something fairly historic. So
you never know, their heads might be in the clouds.
That's the spirit.
But the thing is, Arsenal arguably would have been expected to beat Liverpool. I know Liverpool knocked them out of the FA Cup, but they would have been expected to beat Liverpool.
Definitely.
Real Madrid were not expected to beat Barcelona.
True story.
So maybe Arsenal will hope that their heads are still in the clouds. I don't know.
Are you going to the game tomorrow?
Yes.
I'll see you there.
I'm actually in a box.
I am actually in a box.
So am I.
Are you?
Yeah.
Come on. No more cagoules for you, my friend. The winner tomorrow night at the Emirates will face either Bayern Munich or Lyon in the semis. Bayern Munich also have a 2-0 deficit to overturn.